Yes. Good morning. Thank you. You got laid. Good morning. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the University Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. My name is Paula Despain. My pronouns are she and her, and I'm your service leader today. Yay! I always have fun with that. This is when we settle into our shared sacred space. It's good to have you here. If you're a visitor, do say hi to somebody. All of y'all, say hi to somebody close to you, hopefully somebody you've never seen before. Yes. And if you would be so kind as to say hello to all the people who are visiting us online. Yay! We're glad you're here, whether you're home because of transportation needs or because you chose to, because you prefer it and want to do this in your pajamas, or because you're not feeling well. We're glad you came this way. So, we have to hear from our committees. We have some committee leaders who will You know, there's so many moving parts to this congregation, and we have many groups of people working on making sure everything happens.
Hey guys, Derek, Facilities and Grounds. First, good news, the invasive lizards have been eradicated, so that's good, right? But if you happen to see a large black and white lizard, report it so we can call the trappers back to get rid of them again. Right?
Critter getters?
What?
You have critter getters?
No, we had some guys from UCF actually, right,
Cool.
volunteered to get rid of them for us. So, and then, so the board has decided to hire a maintenance service, an actual building maintenance service. So we're going to try to formalize any requests for maintenance a little more than we have, right? So don't just tap me on the back and say we got something. There's a QR code over there. There's in the restrooms and on the bulletin board. You shoot that QR code, it'll open a form. We can submit a request, and we'll forward it to the maintenance service. Cool beans?
Cool beans.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, I'm Janet, and I have a few announcements. First, not this Tuesday, but next Tuesday night, we're having our next monthly program planning meeting. So it's at 7, it's virtual, and I'll be sending the regulars a link, but there's also a link in the notable news. So if you're a regular attendee, I'm looking forward to seeing you. If you're just curious about our services, you're very welcome to come. If you have an idea about services, you can reach out to me or Amanda, who's sitting in the back, or you can come to the meeting. So that is, again, Tuesday night, April 7th. And then on Sunday morning, April 5th at 9 a.m., we're having our next New Inquiring Minds session. This is our discussion group. It's going to be open mic. So what usually happens is we have a few people who have been really thinking about certain questions. They share their questions, and then we vote, and then we discuss the question that gets the most votes. So if you have something you want to talk about, if you just want to listen, feel free to come 9 a.m. And today, after the service at noon, we're having a choir rehearsal. So if you like to sing, please feel free to join us. And if you don't care to sing but you'd like to talk, please move your conversations to the garden right around noon so we can have a nice quiet space for our rehearsal. Or you can go join Field Day too. That's another option. Thank you.
Hi, Larry Vita here, reminding everybody about the annual Seder dinner on Friday. It's up there, so if you haven't signed up, see the notable news for more information. And I also have 2 dozen eggs, which is in one flat, but I can split it up into 1 dozen and 1 dozen if you want. They're $5 a dozen, and all the proceeds goes to SAC. Okay. Just don't bring pork or bread.
No pork, okay.
And no leavened bread.
No pork or no leavened bread, okay. Good morning, Margie with membership. As a lot of you know, we welcome our new members twice a year, once in the fall and once in the spring. In the fall, we do it during a water ceremony, and in the spring, we do it with our flower communion, which will be, again, this year, led by Paula. Paula takes the reins on those two, and she does a fantastic job. The flower ceremony is beautiful. If you are planning to join our fellowship, it'll be April 26th, I believe. We're doing a Pathway to Membership meeting right after services. It's down the hall on the right in the conference room. Lunch will be served, so hopefully if you want to join the fellowship, we will see you there. The membership team will go over what it means to join and be a member of this loving fellowship. Thanks.
Good morning, Laura Owens. Today I'm speaking on behalf of the Marketing Committee, which the next meeting is Monday, April 6th at 7. If you're interested in finding out more or attending, it's going to be, as I said, then you can contact Kelly or check the notable news. Also just wanted to mention that we're working on getting more visibility and changing our website, and part of that is taking pictures of the speaker and some video. So if you see some of us getting up and taking pictures or video and it seems a little bit invasive. That's why we're doing it, just so you know.
Good morning, I'm Sarah here on behalf of the auction. Patrick, do we have an auction slide today? We do have an auction slide. So the auction will be coming up on April 19th, and we're coming into the time where you might think about registering on the website to be able to bid on things. The actual opening for the bidding will be about 8 days before the auction. And if you have any specific questions, or if you have an item that you want to donate, please see me today. We also have,
Yeah, Lindsay wanted me to announce that the clipboards for the signups for helpers for during the auction are going to be, I'm going to pass them around. I'm going to rotate them around during service, so feel free to sign up for. One is for your food, your menu choice, and the other is for volunteer shifts.
okay, so thank you. Good, thank you.
Hi everyone, Tay with RE. So yes, today is the field day. It is open to everyone. Yay! But the weather does seem a bit iffy right now, so we're going to keep an eye on it. If we have to reschedule it, we will, but right now it's still on. If it's just wind, we'll still be doing it. If it's drizzling, we'll still do it. Only if the ground is getting like really muddy or there's lightning in the area will we reschedule. So that is today. Everyone is welcome. We also have some food and some snacks. It will likely be set up in the RE building for that, just so you have like a nice place for AC in between the events. And the first event will start at 12:15. My other announcement is next week is Easter. RE obviously does a lot of very fun activities, one of them being the egg drop. So for the egg drop, we are looking for, if you have like any random crafting supplies, packing supplies, cardboard, jugs, things like that, we will happily take them for egg drop creations to help the kids protect their eggs when we drop them off the ladder. So that is also open for everyone in the congregation to watch the egg drop after service. So that's the part that everyone can watch and cheer on our kids and their inventions. So if you have anything like that, you can bring it next week or text me, email me, and I can come pick it up from you. So thank you so much.
Hi, Lori and Joe with Hospitality. Jill's right here. Just to remind you that there are openings if you want to be able to serve coffee to the fellow congregation people. The sign-up sheet will be on the shelf, and we do have some openings, so here gives you the great chance. The other thing is, I screwed up and I bought whole bean coffee. If anyone absolutely has an extra coffee grinder that they don't need for a month or two, we would love to have it, borrow it.
Joey Cole, your weekly pledge announcement. I'm so disappointed. I really hoped we'd be a lot further along at this point. Excuse me, my helper. May I use that? Can you hold that for me? I didn't know if I could look sad with Eva standing next to me, but apparently I still can. Okay, couple of things. We are not even halfway there, folks. I really need you. Now, I remind you that this pledge is not for now. It starts in July. That's when you have to come up with money. So please look at your budgets. It's really hard for us to make a budget for the church unless we know how much money's coming in. So that would be an incredible help for us. You can see me with any questions. I know I've thrown out a lot of information over the last month or so, and if you have any questions at all, I'm more than happy to talk with you. As you know, we have both a paper way that you can pledge. You can fill that out, or you can go online. There's any number of ways for you to help out, and we really do need it. I want to make sure that I mention that any amount is meaningful. When I first started here, I was not working. Believe me, I was not giving very much because I didn't have it to give. but I was able this month, or this year, when I turned in my pledge, to up it by $10 every month. For me, that's a big chunk, and so I hope that you will consider that if you are at all possible, if that's possible for you. Again, doesn't start till July. Again, I remind you, those of you that might still be working, that to consider a group called Benevity or any other way that might work to match a contribution. Sometimes there are employers who will match your charitable donations, and Bevity is one of those companies that helps employers to do that. But you can still talk to your employer whether they have that kind of program or not. I also want to mention, I have not said enough about the folks online. We love you. We're so glad you're here. But again, the only way we can keep doing this and keeping it online so that everyone can attend is if we keep the place going. And we really need to do that. Okay, it's down to the joke. It is I remember it. I'll just tell it. Okay, 3 children. They're in the playground together, and they decide to find out what religion they are. And the first kid says, "I'm Christian, and our symbol is the cross." And the next kid says, "Well, I'm Jewish, and our symbol is the Star of David." And the third kid says, "Well, I don't know, I'm Unitarian Universalist, and our symbol is a candle in a cocktail glass." Have a great week, everybody.
Roderick, the chairman of your Triple U Travel Committee, and an announcement about our Polynesian Fire Luau, which was originally scheduled for March, has been rescheduled till April 18th. You have until April 4th if you would like to go to the Polynesian Fire Luau dinner show. It will be sign up, let me know. Also, as an add-on to that, we will be stopping at Buc-ee's on the way home. Some of you are addicted to beaver nuggets, I understand, and that might be an incentive for you. A preview, coming up after this in May, we will be going to the Speakeasy Murder Mystery Dinner Show, which should be fabulous. And then following that, I think we have a trip to Hollerbox, which is a very authentic German restaurant in Sanford, where we can all fill up, and we'll go on a night when they have the band so that we can do some dancing as well. And further information, we're going to be adding cruises to our itinerary of places to go and things to do very shortly, and we'll be putting up information about a cruise, a 5-day, 4-night cruise in February of 2027. Only $500 for a balcony cabin, so something to consider. Information about that will be forthcoming to add to your schedule perhaps. Any questions? We have these flyers, which are in several locations around today. And any questions about that, please see myself or William. We'll be happy to have you join us.
And for those of you who have not been here before, in case there is an emergency, heaven forfend, we have an emergency exit, the one you probably came in when you first got here. We have that exit to the garden, which is easy to access. And down that hall, there's a whole hallway. There's a door at the other end of the hall, and you can exit that way. Don't try to use this exit. There's too many things to trip over. Because we all share this planet Earth, we have to learn to live in harmony and peace with each other and with nature. This is not a dream. This is a necessity. His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Opening music.
Yeah, this is number 16 in your gray hymnal. It's under the seat in front of you, or it will be projected up there. And please stand in body or spirit.
Tis a gift to be simple, tis a gift to be free, tis a gift to come down where we ought to be. And when we find ourselves in the place just right, to be in the valley of love and delight. When true simplicity is gained, to bow and to bend we shan't be ashamed. To turn will be a delight, till by turning we come round right.
Our service lighter, our chalice lighter today is Chase. And he's excited for today's field day. Another kind of fun. Say it with me while he works on that. In the light of truth and the warmth of love, we gather to seek, to sustain, and to share. And we'll affirm our relationship with each other. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its gift. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek truth in love, and to help one another. The most interesting thing we do here in this congregation is share our joys and concerns. Joys shared are multiplied, and concerns shared are divided and made smaller and bearable. And so, we'll do that bearing in mind that anything you say will be out in the cyberspace forever.
I'm going to go on another one of my self-retreats starting next Friday. Won't be here next Sunday. I'll be hopefully happily meditating. I look forward to seeing you all when I am through with the retreat. Wish you well.
My joy is that today is field day. Joe. My joy is that it's field day and that I have a wiggly tooth.
Unfortunately, I have a sorrow. A dear friend passed, John Hatcher, last week, complications from an auto accident. I miss him daily, and his many friends and relatives will miss him going forward.
My name's Sarah, and I want to share a joy that my husband Joe and I just got back from a trip to Costa Rica. It was a wonderful trip, not only to see all the wonderful sights and wildlife, but some very dear friends of ours moved down there 8 years ago, and we haven't seen them since. And it was just marvelous to reconnect with them.
So I'm Melanie, and on Monday, our beloved, sweet 14-year-old Black Lab mix passed away, and we're just brokenhearted, and we're slowly adjusting to life without a dog. So.
Kathy McCambridge, you've been celebrating Women's History, but we had a church secretary by the name of Kim Williams, and her daughter was in a series about the history of women and the women's movement. and it's on Hulu, and it's called Mrs. America. Her name is Kaylee Carter.
Margie here. I'm very proud of my stepdaughter Michaela. A couple hours ago, she gave us a call and she finished her first marathon in 3 hours and 33 minutes, which I think is pretty good. She ran it in Ghent. She lives in Belgium, but yeah, we're both very proud of her.
My joy is partly that I'm visiting today on a day when Kathy speaks. My husband Dave and I are in the process of eventually, over the next several months, moving to Legacy Point at UCF. So we just wanted to come test the waters. And we attended the No Kings rally in Sanford yesterday. The weather was beautiful. The turnout was fabulous. And everybody had a great time. Thank you.
And I'm going to drop a stone for all the other people who are at No King's Day, not just here in the States, but all over the world. I'm surprised and delighted. And the last one for all the people in war-torn areas in the world. Let's take a moment of silence for all of those things shared and those things not shared. May it be so. Time for All Ages will be brought to you by Reverend KathySchmitz.
Good morning. Nice to be here again. Our words for Time for All Ages today is called The Lucky Little Seaweed, and it is written by Mark McMenamin, who was at one time the professor of geology at Mount Holyoke College. He's a paleontologist and the author of several books. It's called The Lucky Little Seaweed. With apologies to the evolutionary biologists among us. Once upon a very long time ago, actually 430 million years ago, to be more precise, there lived a sad little seaweed near the shores of a shallow sea. Isn't that very colorful? I'm not sure what the little seaweed looked like. The little seaweed loved its warm, well-lit aquatic home. But big, fast-growing seaweeds were beginning to crowd the area and shade out the smaller, less aggressive little forms. Ferocious animals who swam or crawled within the ocean had developed a taste for seaweed salad. The animals were becoming more numerous every day and were even beginning to threaten the seaweeds that lived right next to the shore in the saltiest water, a zone that used to be safe. The sad little seaweed was feeling the pinch of increased competition. One day, in the shade of a newly grown patch of aggressive seaweed, the little seaweed met an aquatic fungus. "Excuse me," said the fungus. "I am about to infect and eat you." "Why would you want to do that?" asked the little seaweed. "Well, it's getting harder to make a living on this part of the seafloor. I normally prefer to eat dead organic matter, like old decayed parts of seaweed, but voracious animals have been devouring my favorite foods before I can get my share with their fishy fins in their crabby claws, these animals can move faster than I can stretch my fungal tentacles. You know, offered the little seaweed, I have a similar problem. Beneath these big seaweeds, I can't get enough light to grow. They're shading me out and leaving me weak. The future looks bleak. You might as well infect me and get it over with. The fungus was happy to oblige. Using thread-like tubes that scientists call hyphae, the fungus began to slurp away all the living fluid molecule by molecule. But just then, there was an earthquake! A portion of the sea floor heaved upward, becoming land, and the water drained away, and the big seaweeds tumbled back into the ocean, carried along by the ebbing water. But the little seaweed, anchored as it was to the fungus, was left stranded on the shore. Now what? Said the seaweed in desperation. No problem for me, said the fungus. My hyphae can grow down into the mud, just as easily as they can grow deeper into you. I can grow my hyphae, those tiny thread-like tubes, down as far as I need to, and when they reach the water, I just slurp it up. So you see, I'm in no real danger. But you are, said the fungus. So I suppose I ought to get as much out of you as I can before the sun bakes you to a crisp. So the fungus continued slurping up the fluid from the little seaweed, molecule by molecule. And in the bright sun, the little seaweed started to taste different. The fungus discovered that the slurping it was feasting on was getting sweeter and sweeter. Say, you are a mighty tasty little seaweed. You're very sweet. I would like to have that sweetness for a long time. It seems a shame to kill you. I'm sweet because I am getting enough sunlight, the little seaweed explained. When I get enough sunlight, I can create lots of sugar with my photosynthesis. That is a most admirable talent, said the fungus, with a hint of envy in its voice. And suddenly the fungus had a bright idea. Little seaweed, I have a proposal. I'm listening, said the little seaweed. The fungus continued with excitement. You know, my hyphae can provide nutrition as well as it can take it away. That's my special talent, controlling the flow of water, nutrients, and such. The interesting thing is that I can just as easily send you fluids as I can slurp them out of you. I'm listening, said the seaweed. The fungus continued with excitement. The little seaweed felt a glimmer of hope through its green gelatinous skin. Well, if I provide you with water and minerals, can you guarantee me a continuous supply of sugar? Oh, yes, said the little seaweed. In this bright light, I can produce much more sugar than I can use all by myself. I'm afraid of dying out, but you appear to have solved that problem. I think we have a deal. And thus began the most fruitful collaboration of all time, the coming together of seaweed and fungus to form an entirely new kind of life on Earth, land plants. So now, every time you admire a great oak tree, or run across a lovely lawn like at field day today, or munch on a salad, remember the little seaweed and this tale of teamwork at the ocean's edge. Thank you.
We'll have our interlude and offering now. We'll have some music for that, and we'll have the children passing a basket around. See, that's the other thing about being a Unitarian. Some people think that we're not really a church, but you can tell that we are because we pass the plate every week. Thank you. So join me in singing our children out. We love you and bless you and send you on your way. We love you and bless you today and every day. Our speaker today needs no real introduction, but I'll give it a shot anyway. Reverend Kathy has been a reverend for a long time and has been, she used to have full time over at the First U, and that's how some of the people here know her. But she's kind of semi-retired or something, and so she's here today and doing part-time with us. I hope you like her as much as I do.
Okay, I'm going to give this to you. I'm going to do a reading first. Okay. So I just want to say that in support of the auction, I am again donating the right to give me a sermon topic for next fall. So just think about the possibilities. So we begin, the story that I just shared comes from a collection put together by Connie Barlow and Michael Dowd, who are evolutionary evangelists. She is actually a scientist, and he was an evangelical, and then he got evolution. And
It's contagious?
It is contagious, yes. And they have done some programs, maybe some of you have seen them, but he wrote a book, and I just want to give you a couple excerpts from that before we have our meditation. In his book, Thank God for Evolution, evolutionary evangelical Michael Dowd writes about the role of cooperation in evolution. He summarizes it this way: cooperative synergy and competitive strife are the yin and yang of biological evolution. Dowd takes issue with our tendency to simplify evolution as survival of the fittest. He quotes systems scientist Peter A. Corning. Ecological communities are not simply gladiator fields dominated by deadly competition. They are networks of interdependent self-interests that require mutual adjustment and accommodation. The necessity for competition is only half of a duality, the other half of which includes many opportunities for mutually beneficial cooperation. Dowd explains, while few biologists today would deny that competition and strife played vital roles in evolutionary emergence, some conclude that cooperative processes are equally or even more important. From this perspective, evolution is driven by, quote, survival of those that fit best into the web of ecological relationships. As in the situation of the lucky little seaweed and the fungus in our story this morning, Dowd believes symbiosis, beneficial partnerships, shape the ecologies of our world. We are reminded that competition and strife may indeed create the circumstances that make cooperation advisable. Still, whatever the reason, there are opportunities for cooperation. This was and is true in our evolutionary history and our human story. Dowd points out, for our remote human ancestors, cooperation existed only in small family groups. Cooperative organizations expanded to produce multi-family bands, then tribes, then agricultural villages, cities, empires, and then nation states, and now some forms of economic and social cooperation that span the globe. End of the reading. And now we have a time for meditation. Paula is going to join me in this. Do you think it would be easier if you use that mic? This is called Out of the Stars. It was written by Robert Weston, a late Unitarian Universalist minister. So I invite you to settle in more fully to our time together. Relax your body and your mind and breathe. Let us begin. Out of the stars in their flight, out of the dust of eternity, here have we come, stardust and starlight, mingling through time and space.
Out of the stars have we come, up from time. Out of the stars have we come.
Time out of time before time, in the vastness of space, Earth spun to orbit the sun. Earth with the thunder of mountains newborn, the boiling of seas.
Earth, warmed by sun, lit by sunlight, this is our home. Out of the stars have we come.
Mystery hidden in mystery, back through all time. Mystery rising from rocks in the storm and the sea.
Out of the stars rising from the rocks and the sea, kindled by sunlight on earth, arose life.
Ponder this thing in your heart. Ponder with awe. Out of the sea to the land, out of the shallows came ferns.
Out of the sea to the land, up from darkness to light, rising to walk and to fly, out of the sea trembled life.
Ponder this thing in your heart. Life up from the sea, eyes to behold, throats to sing, mates to love.
Life from the sea, warmed by the sun, washed by rain, life from within, giving birth, rose to love.
This is the wonder of time. This is the marvel of space. Out of the stars swung the earth. Life upon earth rose to love.
This is the marvel of life, rising to see and to know. Out of your heart, cry wonder, sing that we live.
Let's take just a moment in shared silence. May we be joyful participants in the long history of life on earth as it continues today. The question before us this morning is this: are we individually and collectively as smart as seaweed? Or for that matter, fungus? When we are thrown up on a new shore, what do we do? When the very foundations of our world shift and are rocked to the core, what do we do? I would like to think that we would cope at least as well as the little seaweed did when the earth's upheaval left it high and dry. But I've learned long ago the difference between what I would like to think and reality. Perhaps this is the basis of evolution, that it's not guaranteed. Things don't always go as I or you or we think they should. For every little seaweed that merged with a fungus and went on to do great things, there were countless others that withered away on the rocks. We like the success stories. Those are the ones we tell. The beginning of life on land. How exciting. But it's not a simple story. It's complicated. It was not inevitable. It was a story with many elements. It had adversity. It had cataclysmic events. And there was luck involved. And there was cooperation. Cooperation. In this case, evolution was driven by the survival of those that fit best into the web of ecological relationships. Survival of those that fit best. The survival of those who, recognizing the reality around them, are able to play nice in the new sandbox, even if it means playing with those they once considered their enemy. I would like to think that we would cope at least as well as the little seaweed when the earth's upheavals leave us high and dry. But I wonder, are we willing to change to adapt, to take stock of our new surroundings and evolve? This raises the question of interdependence, the fourth in our series of Unitarian Universalist values. Now, this may be the easiest one of the new values for our members to remember, since many of us were very fond of the seventh principle in our previous articulation of who we are. So here's one of the representations of our new 6 Unitarian Universalist values surrounding love. We have already considered transformation, pluralism, and generosity. And so today we consider interdependence. Now, our 7th principle, for those who were not familiar with it, called us to out our respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part. Today, we have a few more words to explain our thinking. Interdependence. We honor the interdependent web of all existence with reverence for the great web of life, and with humility, we acknowledge our place in it. We covenant to protect the earth and all beings from exploitation. We will create and nurture sustainable relationships of care and respect, mutuality and justice. We will work to repair harm and damaged relationship. An interdependent web. All existence. This is what we honor. We're talking here about all of existence, the parts we understand and the parts we don't. It's a web. It's an interdependent web. The various parts of the web depend on one another and support one another. They touch. We touch one part of it, and ripples have effects past our initial effects, beyond the obvious, beyond the immediate. All of existence, since that moment currently estimated to be about 14 billion years ago, when our universe began expanding from a pinprick. All of existence has been and is interdependent, evolving together. And here's the thing, we're part of it. Really think about that. We're not just asked to honor, we are asked to recognize our part in it. We are part of an unfolding universe, just like the seaweed and the fungus. We are in relationship with each other and with the larger web. We depend on parts of the web, and the web depends on us. We support parts of the web, and the web supports us. Of course, you say this is obvious. Intellectually, most of us know this. But emotionally, spiritually, experientially, we often forget. We live as if it was otherwise. We act as though the universe is a stage built for our entertainment, a sandbox crafted for our pleasure, something we should and could control, something we are in rather than something we are part of. Sometimes we do real harm. But we are a part of it, and the universe evolves, and so too do we. It can be no other way. If we are as clever as a seaweed and a fungus, we will keep ourselves apprised of the situation around us. We will reach out and experience the rest of the web. And when needed, we will change and evolve. And sometimes that will mean we need to learn to cooperate in new ways. So let's look at this word, cooperate. Cooperation, to cooperate, to operate together. It's closely related to another useful word, collaborate, to co-labor, to labor together. We're not just talking here about taking another into account. We're not talking about tolerance or even acceptance. We're talking about truly and deeply appreciating what another brings to our relationship, our interdependent relationship. I'm reminded of the charter schools that our daughters attended during middle school, and because we are in Florida, I must disclaim that this was in Massachusetts, where charter schools are different. This school was based on system thinking. Everything they did looked at interconnections. They called it interdisciplinary learning. In this type of learning, if you study bridges, you study the math and science of bridges, of bridge building. You study the geography of the land and the bridge's effects on the people there. You read literature and poetry about bridges. You look at the bridges through the eyes of an artist. A bridge does not exist in isolation. To say one understands bridges, there's so much more we need to experience. It's all connected. Now, perhaps I was attracted to the school because of my own experiences. I was, as some of you know, in my first career, a software engineer. Now, this tells you didn't all know apparently, this tells you that I did something with computers that make computers run. But I was a particular type of software engineer. I was a systems engineer. I looked at computers as whole systems. For those of you who know about such things, I wrote operating systems. For those of you who don't know about such things, if you push the button on your computer and it started to work, that meant my program worked. Later in that career, I worked on device drivers. This means I helped the computer talk to the printer, scanner, or fax, or whatever. It was my job to help the computer and the device, say the printer, cooperate so that your document would go from the screen to a piece of paper. Cooperation. After I became a minister, someone asked me, "How do you like developing people instead of software?" And I knew I had met a person who understood my old world and my new world. I really like developing people instead of software. I love collaboration. I love encouraging people to cooperate. It's just naturally how I look at the world. It isn't the only way. I know, we need specialists too, and I appreciate them. But me, I naturally want to look at that big picture and the opportunities for cooperation and collaboration. I remember being in a meeting when I arrived at a new congregation. It was not a congregation set in Orlando. I asked a question. Interestingly, I can no longer remember what the question was, but I do remember the answer. Someone told me that there, in that congregation, there were different groups of people. For example, there were the social justice people. There were the religious education people. There were the art and music people. And there were the environmental people. What was implied in the comment and in its tone was that with all of these different interests in the congregation, I should not expect the congregation ever to collaborate on any big projects. Fascinating. Interestingly, most congregations have people interested in all of those things. This congregation has social justice people and religious education people and music and art people and environmental people too. But if I assigned one interest to each corner and asked you all to go to the one corner that represented your interests, I mean, we'll put the social justice people here and the religious education people and the arts and music people there and the environmental people there. How would that work for you? Would you know which corner to go to? Most of you, I bet, would not. It would be fun, though, to see sort of you had to position yourself in between. Okay, another day. I was and am fascinated by this idea of competing clans. But here's the thing, I don't buy it. I don't think we divide ourselves up that way. I've seen the way that social justice and environmental concerns overlap. It's not just the people, but also the recognition that environmental justice means that we have to think about the way that environmental issues often more heavily impact traditionally marginalized communities. And I've heard the songs of justice. I heard them yesterday. I know our children care about the earth. All of our clans overlap. So I think back to my arrival in that congregation, and I wonder what it is I asked that caused someone to tell me that I should not expect everyone to work together. And I wonder, in part because I think that's part the frequent human tragedy. We underestimate the potential of what we can do together. Missed opportunities abound. I suspect within this room we can come up with a long list of opportunities that have been missed. Opportunities to connect, to collaborate, to cooperate. Missed opportunities to become something more together than any of us could be alone. My husband Charlie used to lead a symposium called Awakening the Dream or Changing the Dream. And its mission was to bring about the emergence of an environmentally sustainable, spiritually fulfilling, and socially just human presence on this planet. Listen to the 3 parts of that mission, 3 that aren't always combined, but in this context were inseparable. The mission of the symposium is to bring about the emergence of an environmentally sustainable, spiritually fulfilling, and socially just human presence on this planet. Not 3 separate goals, but one goal with 3 lenses into it. No one part can exist alone. I sometimes used to help Charlie leading the symposiums, which are part of a larger organization called the Pachamama Alliance. For me, their mission is a wonderful alignment with what I have always considered my mission in ministry. I say I want to be part of creating a peaceful, just, and sustainable world for all of Earth's inhabitants. Not just part of it, I want it all. Of course, we'll each be drawn to different areas. Our attention at times will be drawn to this project or that project, but always there's this larger vision of the building the world that we dream about. Too often we work at cross purposes, or even worse, against each other, when with just a little creativity, a little cooperation, we could support one another. Interdependence has always been a part of our larger world, but it is increasingly highlighted these days, I think, when the Straits of Hormuz impact our global food supply, when controversy over ICE funding causes long waits in TSA lines, when immigrants have been vilified as an excuse to suppress voting rights for all of us. We touch one thing, and too often there are unintended consequences elsewhere. One of the quotes from the Awakening the Dreamer Symposium that has really stayed with me is this. This was said by Lynn Stone, the Pachamama Alliance founder. Together, we are a genius. Together, we are a genius. Juntos in Spanish. Together. Here in this congregation, I see the way that different areas of congregational life overlap, sometimes intentionally, sometimes simply as a natural part of how things go. What if we were to look intentionally for even more ways to weave our different interests and strengths into new and wonderful creations that have not yet been imagined? Interdependence. Together, juntos, cooperation, collaboration, evolution, more than any of us can be alone. One of the fabulous things about joint endeavors is the wonder and mystery that comes from not knowing exactly how it will all turn out. Evolution's like that. We can't know. We don't know. This is true in all of areas of our lives. So reflect for a moment. Where are you cut off from life-giving relationships? Where could you look for increased cooperation and collaboration? How can you best support what you love? Where is your opportunity for a little evolution? 115 years ago, Unitarians who relocated from Iowa brought their faith to Central Florida. And that is how the congregation known as First Unitarian was born. Those pioneers could not have known about all the twists and turns that would emerge. They did not know that Unitarians and Universalists nationally would merge for greater collaboration. They could not foresee that a new congregation would emerge out here by the university, partly because in those days there was no university. But the first minister to serve Central Florida wrote these words in her history of her time here. Never for, and this is from Reverend Eleanor Gordon in her history. Never for one moment did I lose faith in the ultimate success of Unity Church, as First Unitarian was called at that time. Never for a moment did I question the belief that Orlando was destined to be one of the great cities of the South, and as such, it was most important that a liberal religious center should be established there. No matter how hard the struggle, we must hold on. We never could have done this if at any time certain loyal men and women had lost faith. Over 100 years ago, they came together with the vision of bringing liberal religion to Central Florida. They could not know how that vision would unfold, and that didn't stop them. When this fellowship was created 33 years ago, their founders didn't know what would emerge either, and so much has. Some of those founders are still with us. Would you like to give us a little wave? Thank you, thank you. These founders did not know when they opened these doors who would find their way inside. They opened them anyway. They knew that they were growing a life-giving religious tradition. This community is constantly remaking itself, constantly changing, welcoming new people, grieving the loss of beloved friends, allowing itself to live and evolve and to move into the unknown. I find myself drawn back to the wonderful tradition of potluck meals in this congregation. We never know who will show up or what they will bring, and yet it all comes together into something delicious and nourishing, a feast none of us could have planned, let alone created on our own. This is one of the fabulous things about joint endeavors, the wonder and mystery that comes from not knowing how it will all turn out. And I note that at any given potluck here, we may find some seaweed by way of sushi, and fungus by way of mushrooms, and lots of land plants that resulted from that partnership, and many of the things that have evolved since then, including us. Once, a very long time ago, 430 million years ago to be precise, a seaweed and a fungus met under adverse circumstances and began a fruitful relationship. If we are as clever as seaweed and fungus, then we will keep ourselves apprised of the situation around us in this congregation, yes, but in all of our relationships and associations. We will reach out and experience the rest of the web. If we are as clever as seaweed and fungus, we will watch for our opportunities to cooperate and collaborate. We will continue to evolve. May it be so.
Say it with me. We extinguish this flame. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Closing music. If you're the person who likes to read the music, and this is where to find it, number 1064 in this book. Because not all of us can read music, but when we can, it sure is fun. And we're going to sing all 3 verses. Please stand as you're willing and able. Take in a nice deep breath full of air to get plenty of air to sing with. Though below me I feel no motion, standing on these the mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean, still my dry land heart can say, I've been sailing all my life now, never harbor nor port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. Sun, my sail, and moon, my rudder, as I ply the starry sea, leaning over the edge in wonder, casting questions into the deep. Drifting here with my ship's companions, all we kindred pilgrim souls, making our way by the lights of the heavens in our beautiful blue boat home. I give thanks to the waves upholding me, hail the great winds urging me on, greet the infinite sea before me, sing the sky my sailor's song. I was born upon the fathoms, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. Thank you. My closing words come from Maria Mitchell, titled Our Whole System. Small as is our whole system compared with the infinitude of creation, brief as is our life compared with the cycles of time, we are so tethered to all by the beautiful dependencies of law. Not only the sparrow's fall is felt to the uttermost bounds, but the very vibrations set in motion by the words that we utter reach through all space, and the tremor is felt through all time. Oh yeah, and yeah, Sonny and Cher said, and the beat goes on.
linger for coffee and cookies.